Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ajay Patel Show. My name is Ajay Patel. This is episode 36. So, thank you guys for joining me again, or thank you guys for joining me for the first time. Our first story of the day. Um, this one caught my interest. I was scrolling through TikTok, and being a person that lives in Los Angeles, I like seeing what changes. People tell me about, oh, this got better, this got better. The homeless, problem got better, but then it got worse during COVID and this and that. Los Angeles removes traffic signs that used to target and persecute the gay community. The signs read no cruising, no U turns of midnight to 6 a.m. and were posted around the Silver Lake neighborhood. Now, check it out. Los Angeles has a lot of problems: homelessness, the crime, the traffic, uh, you know, three problems that impact my life a lot. Not a lot, but a decent amount. This one, this is when I have issues with this stuff, right? Like, I'm all for getting rid of the racist statue that's offending everyone. I get it. I get it. And I get it. It's also Pride Month, So I get why everyone's doing the song and dance, right? Being someone that's on LinkedIn a lot right now, let me tell you, I'm a LinkedIn whore right now. And I fully see people do the song and dance, right? Pride Month comes along, and then you see their company logo. You'll see the Walmart logo with the rainbow going through. Remember when people were doing that to their IG profiles or their Facebook profiles? For the month of June, they would have this rainbow overlay that you could put on top of your picture. And look. I know it's going to be like, oh, he's anti. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing. Well, first of all, timeout. I worded that all types of wrong. I am not anti anything. I fully support pride, all that stuff, but it's the thing that I've mentioned before. It's this whole having a month, having a day. We just had Father's Day yesterday. First of all, happy Father's Day to the fathers that listen to this. I don't know that many. Happy Father's Day to my dad. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this. But I hate these days, right? I hate these, like, hey, today's the day you post your dad on Instagram. And it's like, does he even have Instagram? Like, hey, how about you just call him? Just call him. He keeps trying to get emotional with you when he has a couple drinks. Why don't you just call him? Instead of this whole Instagram, oh, wow, he's such an amazing father, blah, blah, blah. You have the 3 pictures where he's smiling in life. It's the same concept with Pride Month, where it's like, man, this is just so theatrical. I get the pride parades. It's a party, right? Any excuse to party, I get it. But this shit right here, this U-turn sign stuff, it's just strange. It's just strange to me that it's like, this is the focus. You can literally, if you are in Los Angeles, California, you can just walk into a store, grab whatever you want, and just walk out. No one can do anything about it. The person that owns the store can't do anything about it. The police can't do anything about it. And so now what you'll probably see on your TikTok feed, YouTube, wherever you're ingesting your content, you'll see that all these store owners have now taken it into their own hands, right? They'll now have to just have a bunch of people, have their staff ready to attack someone that's, trying to steal all this stuff. People walk in with fake guns all the time. And I understand that's a little scary, but that's not even the normal. Look at what's happened with San Francisco. California is a mess, I tell you. We'll go into this much deeper in a later episode, but it is a mess. All these places that are shutting down in San Francisco, because how can I stay open if it is perfectly okay by law and by society, essentially, that people can come into my store, take what they want, and bounce? Seems like a problem that you would want to button up first before getting rid of no U-turn signs, right? Like, there were a lot of signs out. There's a lot of traffic signs out there. Never did I think, oh shit, this one's anti. This one's anti-gay. The no U-turn sign. Look, I tried to read up on the history. And then finally, when I just hit record, it kind of dawned on me like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. So the paragraph that reads, the sign that read no cruising, no U-turns, midnight to 6 a.m. were posted around the Silver Lake neighborhood in 1997, a decent year, with the intent to curb gay men from roaming the streets to hook up. Now, Los Angeles is one of the gay hubs. If you are ever in the West Hollywood area, it is pride everywhere. It's like a known spot for, gay people to feel safe, welcomed, and enjoy an environment that isn't, it doesn't have all this. You don't have to worry about going into a bar and someone being like, oh, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. You don't get any side eyes, anything like that. It's a hub for gay folks. Now, this no cruising, no U-turns, midnight to 6 a.m. I didn't understand it at first. At first, I was just kind of like, what's wrong with that? Like midnight to 6 a.m. They probably want to just keep crime low. They don't want people to U-turn into their death. Blah, blah, blah. You just want people to stay at home, right? You want 6 hours to just kind of take it down a notch. You don't have to worry about all the nonsense going on the street. You don't have to worry about someone speeding, someone without their headlights on, blah, blah, blah. And then it kind of dawned on me where it's like, I understand now. I understand that people just trying to get some booty, you know? Effectively, that's what it is, right? The cruising, no U-turns, midnight to 6 a.m. That's just someone trying to roam around, trying to find some dude on the street, trying to find someone else to hook up with. And I get it. And I fully support it. My issue, once again, and I repeat for the last time, is just the matter of, does this really matter? Like, I get it. It's a good move on, whatever California governor or whoever actually made this change happen. This type of homophobia persisted in Silver Lake 30 years after the Black Cat protest, and I just don't care. It's just an interesting story I found where first it was the statues. When I first graduated college, it was the statues. And then now we're on traffic signs. I'm excited to see what's next. Now, speaking of people and things being anti-gay, the Pope has been wilding out. The Pope has indeed been wilding out. Now, I don't want to dive too much into this because it's going to sound bad. Old people can say what they want. Let's just be real. Old people can say what they want. And you kind of just have to nod your head and go with it. You can disagree. You can get upset. You can tell your mom or dad, like, hey, like uncle's really blah, 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 blah. This grandpa, blah, 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 like they're really offending me. They're making me feel uncomfortable. It doesn't matter. It truly does not matter. I am waiting for the day. After you turn 70 years old, you can quite literally say anything you want. If you have a family member that is above the age of 70, and the Pope is 88, 89, where's his age? Whatever. You can quite literally, the Pope is 87. Pope Francis. I don't know how long this dude's been up in this office, but 87. You can quite literally say whatever you want. If Joe Biden tomorrow came out and said the N-word, right? Not the hard R, right? Soft A N-word. I would just shrug my shoulders and I'd be like, yeah, like, I get it. They're old. They are not happy. The happy old people, I'm sure they're politically correct. They're giving you money every time you come visit. But the rest of them, they do not care. They're racist. They're bigots. They're misogynists. And it's just something you got to just kind of like, nod your head and be like, man, I kind of wish you had COVID. That's what COVID was for. COVID was trying to get rid of racism. COVID? No. Obviously, I don't mean that. And I wish your elders well and blah, blah, blah. But when you get to that age, it doesn't matter. These people were alive during racism, during a lot of this crap. When you start scratching 90, you were probably part of some tough times. You probably had, things like British rule over India, Nazi occupation of Germany. All of these things that probably were, Germany? Whatever, Nazi occupation. All these things that were part of your life, and then you move to America and people are complaining about U-turn signs. right? You probably get pushed into racism where it's just like, bro, I fucking hate y'all. I hate all of y'all. What I love about this Pope Francis story is a couple weeks ago, he actually made another gay slur. I don't know what the exact words is because it doesn't really say the words because, can you really trust the news? But he apologized and a couple weeks later doubled down and did it again in a private meeting. First of all, who's snitching? Who in the Pope's, hood or, like close group of homeboys and girls is snitching like this? Oh, apparently the term was in Italian. And as we know, I don't know a lick of Italian. The Pope never intended to offend or express himself in homophobic terms. Yes, he did. And he extends his apology to those who were offended by the use of a term reported by others. They don't care. They're going to say it and they're going to move on. The next time you're at a family function and one of the elders in your family says some shit that you don't agree with, or it makes you angry or it makes you upset, move on, bro. You got maybe 5 more good years of them still talking and moving around. And then, you know, like it's just true. On that note, I'd like to say happy Pride Month to those celebrating. And of course, we cannot forget happy Juneteenth to the rest of y'all. The job search continues. The job search continues. Now, when I recorded last week, I had probably just started just finished redoing my resume and throwing it out there to the world. A lot of the things I've been doing is off of job boards, and I understand that's not the most effective way of getting a new job, right? I even mentioned it last week on the podcast where it's like more than likely I'll hopefully, knock on wood, get a job through a friend or a family member, some type of ex acquaintance, some ex coworker, whatever it is. The thing about the job boards thing is it's kind of exciting. Like you'll see a random position pop up at Coca-Cola and you're like, ooh, I do like Coca-Cola and I wouldn't mind working there. And here's the thing that I've been doing bad is like the position will literally say Atlanta and I'll apply there with full intentions to never move to Atlanta or anything like that. Now, don't get me wrong. If that's the only outcome I have, 100% jumping on board. But the LinkedIn applying, I understand is not effective. But one, I can claim that on unemployment. So holla. And two, it's just like a quick fix drug where you're still going through the movement. So you feel like you're kind of doing something. But at the same time, you kind of know there's no positive outcome to what's coming. Leading up to now, where I do feel a little burnt out. Like how many times am I going to tell some company that I'm Asian, I'm not Hispanic, I'm not a veteran, I have no disability. And yes, I have 4 years of this, 3 years of this, 2 years of this. I'm clearly lying, right? Like this is what I hate about a lot of this shit is that you just kind of lie until you get in the door. And then it doesn't really matter what you lied about. And people are fully understanding that you're lying about stuff. Because if you can lie long enough and good enough, you'll get in the door. I had a case study for my first job out of college. I had never done a case study before. I always heard about people doing case studies where it was like, oh, yeah, I have to turn in this case study by midnight on Canva. Canva? What the fuck? What was it called? Canvas? Blackboard? You know what I'm saying? People had to do case studies more than likely if they were a business major. I never made it to business school. I was a math major. So I had never done a case study before. The case study ended up being, should Chick-fil-A be open 7 days a week? And then you kind of just dive into it. And I repeat to y'all, if there's one piece of advice I can give y'all, the only way the lie gets exposed is if you stop talking or if you give up. If you just keep doubling down and you keep doubling down, oh, a new question, double down, a new question, double down, you will make it. I'm not condoning lying. I enjoy lying myself. It's a fun thing to do. But I repeat, when it comes to this job shit, it really is just lying until you get in the door. And I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, damn, bro, like This is all to just get back into the 9 to 5 routine. And there has to be a better outcome, right? Like there has to be a way out of this shit. I understand, you know, save till you can retire, buy real estate, blah, 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 maybe open a franchise. But we're not really pushed into those fields unless you grew up like one of your parents were in those fields, right? They own hotels, they own a restaurant, blah, blah, blah. You don't really steer that way because you don't see that, right? You see someone working 9 to 5 from, um, the age 20 to age 60, and then they retire. And then you kind of steer that way. Other things, and then until this kind of new age of social media, right? Oh, you can make $1 million off of TikTok a month. Oh, if you have this Amazon FBA store, you can make 10K a month. Until that happened, I think the 9 to 5 was continuing to be the trend. People call themselves entrepreneurs. I get it. They pursue businesses, blah, blah, blah. That shit's a separate story, right? How many people actually call themselves entrepreneurs versus are they actual entrepreneurs? And then the world of startups get hot a lot. There's a lot more flexibility in the world of startups. A lot more younger people are entering the field. A lot more people in general are entering the field. And now we have this kind of era here where I feel like we're in, and this is going to sound like some motivating shit. And I don't mean it to be, but it might be. You can quite literally do anything. You can quite literally do anything. Now, there are some constrictions, right? You need money, you need some time, and you need resources. For example, if I wanted to start flipping houses, right? I could take out, whatever they tell you to do, the home equity line of credit on your existing house, and then buy another house. Work it down, or sorry, not work it down. Put in some renovations, put in some money, put in some time, and then end up flipping it. Make maybe 10K, 20K. After everything, make a little bit of money. Then you continue that cycle. Next thing you know, you maybe are on to $1 million houses. And whenever you flip $1 million house, your net income is greater than what you started with. Other idea would be to buy a business. I have literally been looking up liquor stores in California. I don't know why. It's just I went to Biz Buy Sell and just saw, like what's out there. A lot of times it's these owners that have had a business for 40 years. They've had a stroke. They can't really keep up with the workload. Their inventory is dying down. They're not really making the same amount of money, and they just want to go home. They just want to go home, say some racist shit at home, and then just call it a day. Like they just want to enjoy sleeping in for once in their life. They don't want to wake up at 4 a.m., 3 a.m., make donuts, fill in the Grey Goose shelf. So this is something that I was thinking of where it's just like, is there a better route than this 9 to 5 thing? Now we talk about the tangent, right? The road that's been kind of under me the whole time, but I've never really jumped off and gotten onto that road fully, which is the entertainment route. Do you just fully, 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 fully dedicate yourself to the game? Do you quit everything? Do you put aside any type of traveling? I'm not going to your wedding. I'm not going to your bachelor party, and live by minimal means. And then you're maybe making generously $600 a week, which isn't bad, right? You would have to get decently aggressive. You'd have to get an agent. You'd have to be doing stage time, maybe booking some commercials, making $600 here and there. Maybe on off bad weeks, you're making $100. Pick up a little waiter job. But that's a grind, boy. That is a grind. And I could fully imagine myself doing that at 24, 23. But I was too locked into the, like, oh, we got to buy a house, because that was the path I was on, where, okay, this is what will set me free. Now, being kicked off that road a little bit, it's like, should I go over there? And so that's been the weird thing for me personally. I know maybe one person, and she's a comedian in Los Angeles, and she quit her corporate job. Now, I met this girl. Her name's Bria. I met her on the set of that student film I mentioned to y'all a while ago. And it's so funny because all the background people were talking about, oh, yeah, I just moved to LA, or I've been in LA for 2 years. But all of them still have their day job, right? Some person works at PwC making probably 120, 130, 140K. They have a six-figure job to pay the rent. And then they have their side job, which is this, the thing that you want to pursue full time, but doesn't really make a lot of money right now. Now, Bria was one person that I met that fully quit. She was like, yeah, I do this full time. I recently quit my job. Now, when I keep up with her stories and stuff, I'm like, how the hell does she afford this lifestyle? Blah, blah, blah. But I think it just has to do with the grind. Like, you literally have to be doing shit every single day. You have to be hosting shows. You have to be doing commercials left and right. So I do think it's feasible. It's just a matter of, would I have to change the means I live by? In addition to that, would I be better off just working the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends pursuing your passion, right? There's this speaker that I forgot his name, but some multimillionaire dude, and he gave that advice, and I found it interesting where it's like, yeah, like in the field of arts, there is a very low success rate. Whether you're an artist, an actor, a podcaster, whatever you are in the arts field, there's a maybe 1% success rate. That's relatively low. But if you're in the 9 to 5 world, you're living comfortable. You're doing your 8 hours a day, half the time probably not even getting called. It's a very casual 8 hours also, for depending on where you work, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that was my problem, is that I took it so casual. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, okay, yeah. So the idea being, I have this nice apartment. I got a wedding coming up. I got bills to pay. So am I better off just sticking to plan A or jumping off the road? So all that to say, the job search is still going. I know people keep saying, yo, there's so many jobs out there, but there's also so many applicants. And I know I said this last week, but I will keep y'all updated. I should probably not speak too much about pride and stuff, because what if someone just looks me up on YouTube or Google and this shit pops up? Yeah, I should probably take that shit out. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about before I say let's go Mavs and Mavs in 7 and give y'all that whole spiel is, I'm legit getting sued. People thought I was joking. Even my friends thought I was joking, but I think I feel more comfortable now giving y'all some more details. And just, it's a laughing matter, right? I tell y'all that the laughing matter, the material in your life, the stuff that just entertains people, captivates their attention, is the bad shit that happens to you. It's never the good shit, right? I tell people I'm engaged. Oh my gosh, we're so happy for both of you. It's like, all right, well, but I need you to just be happy for me. Anything good in your life, people cheer and stuff, but it's the bad stuff that entertains them. 100%. 100%. When I got laid off, right? People were worried. People are still worried, especially when I exit these doors and I see my mom and dad. They are worried. But at the same time, there's, like, it's kind of funny, right? If you laugh at it, I guess that means it's funny. With this getting sued thing, don't get me wrong, it 100% pissed me off. And it's still pissing me off, and I'm sure it's still going to do a number to me. But I wanted to talk about it because it's just comedy. And also, if you guys have any advice, I will gladly take it. My neighbor is suing my tenants in the house I own and rent out to them because of nuisance. So what that means is my tenants were basically having a bunch of parties during weekends throughout the course of 2 years, and now this neighbor has, I guess, reached his fucking maximum tolerance of this shit and has decided to take me to court. Now, the difference is this is small claims court. So you can sue up to a certain dollar amount. Which is, in this case, $10,000. Now, that's no small feat. People were saying, oh, I guess, it'll just be 10K. But it's like, yo, where the fuck do y'all think I have 10K to pay this shit? Do y'all not know how much my rent is? Like, it's still some shit that you just don't want to deal with. Now, if this was something like an HOA fine, right? Like $100, then I would get it, right? It makes sense. Okay, you know what? They've been a nuisance. I'll pay that, and then I will charge my tenants for what they did. Now, my tenants have been great, right? I have thoroughly enjoyed them. One thing that I do feel bad about is because of this, I had to basically be like, hey, I can't resign y'all. I can't resign y'all. And to them, look, it happened on accident. It happened on accident. I think this happens on accident. Is I basically became a slumlord. I basically ran an apartment that could not cool down, and these guys were dying in there. These guys were dying in there. Now, it wasn't on purpose, right? I would continuously call the AC guy out. I would make changes X, Y, and Z. Oh, you get a new unit for 9K. Okay, well, I can't afford that. Okay, well, you could do this upgrade for 5K. I don't think that'll solve the issue. And then we continue through this cycle, right? And then summer comes along in Texas, and then the issues start to kind of ramp up where the unit cannot cool the inside of the apartment down against what is coming in, right? So it's 100 degrees outside. There's a 0% chance this apartment will cool down to 60 degrees, 66 degrees. And also, that's unheard of. That's just ridiculous. I don't know about y'all, but if you keep the house at about 75 on a day that it's 100 outside, you're straight. You're 100% straight. And that was my goal, right? I think what they say rule of thumb is if you can cool, the delta should be 20. If you can cool the apartment by 20 degrees, then you're straight. Like your unit is working at an efficient rate. And I remember being in LA and I ordered some pizza. I ordered a Coke. I was sitting there watching TV, just having a good time. And I was just laughing because it's like my friend Sean called me, my boy Sean called me, and we were just dying laughing because while I'm chilling, cooling, those dudes were dying in that bitch. Imagine just sitting. I lived in there. I understand what heat comes in. Like it's about 80 degrees in the apartment where you can't breathe. You literally have to just sleep in your boxers and just hope you cool down towards the end. It's not a great time. But like I'm trying. I am trying. I don't want y'all to be this uncomfortable, but it just happens. It just happens. My bad, bro. So it made me think where it's just like the slumlord thing just happens on accident. I had friends that would complain about like they would live with their friends in their friend's parents' house and they'd be like, yeah, blah, blah, blah's dad doesn't fix anything. They don't do anything, da, da, da. And it's like back then I would have this opinion like, oh my gosh, that's so bad. That's so lazy, them, yada, yada. Now I get it. Like the person that has some stuff going on in their life. Sorry, I got cut off there. I got cut off. I do get it. The slumlord thing literally does happen on accident. With that being said, it's just like I do want to keep the tenants, but I can't deal with this shit, right? I can't deal with other neighbors that will eventually call the HOA and then the HOA I have to evict them and then it's just some sloppy process. Their lease literally ends in a month or two. So I thought it'd bring it to a decent conclusion where it's just like, hey, like we cannot keep doing this. Going back to the getting sued part. What the fuck? Like what the actual fuck? I reached out to the guy. I'm obviously not gonna say any names because I don't want people to come at me or things to just not go my way when it's time to go to court. In small claims court, you don't need a lawyer. A friend of mine, his sister is a lawyer, and she was telling me that in small claims court, the judge doesn't even have to be a lawyer, which is pretty wild. So it could just be a random person up there deciding my fate, deciding who I have to pay, if I have to pay $10,000 to someone, which is kind of terrifying. If I were to find a lawyer, right, the going rate may be like $350 an hour. And so doing that, I would just only end up spending more than possibly fighting it myself and then just getting out on the other side, possibly paying zero. Also possibly paying 10K. Now, this shit's stressful. right? Because it's like you don't know shit about law. I don't care how many seasons of Suits I watched. I don't know shit about law. I don't know how to argue law. I don't know how to frame law. I don't know how to use law, right? Everything I looked up in the first week after I got served papers was how to sue, how to sue the person for this, how to do this, how to do this. And it's like, okay, but how do I defend against this shit? How do I not pay for this? What if I'm innocent? How do I defend against this? Eventually found some resources on that. And then it's just like, this is annoying. Like you have to backtrack so much and show some type of stance and then have a bunch of concrete details behind it. And then it all comes down to the judge. There's no jury in this case. This isn't that big of a thing. This is going to be something I turn in paperwork for, a court date gets scheduled, and then next thing you know, I'm there dressed up saying, Your Honor, I've never been in court before. Am I nervous? Yeah. But at the same time, I'm kind of excited. Like I reached out to the guy. I reached out to the individual suing me, and I tried to make um it right. I try to make it right. I tried to just be like, hey, like I apologize that it has come to this, but is there a resolution you can think of outside of going to court? He basically said, fuck you. This is in the court's hands now. And I tried again. Hey, look, like this is the first time you and I have spoken. I'm a nice guy. I'm a very nice guy. I know I come off a little rambunctious here and people think I'm anti this and anti that. No, I'm pro everything. I try to reach out to him again. And once again, he threw the court shit in my face where it's like, you've had enough time to try to deal with this. This is in the court's hands now. So now I wish I could read the exact text messages to y'all, but once again, I don't want to incriminate myself or anything. I don't want to show that I'm being negligent or that I do not care about the matter, because I do care, right? I think it's very annoying when people are making noise in their apartment and it's protruding through X amount of walls. And if I come to you and say, hey, bro, it's kind of loud, can you keep it down? And you don't keep it down, that's that rude shit, right? I've never agreed with um, calling the cops instantly. I've always thought that's too much. I don't know whether that's just like a new cultural thing where, oh, I'm just going to call the cops. I'm just going to call this person. Like, I'm going to call the authorities because this person's causing noise. Back in the day, you just go knock. Hey, bro, keep it down. Da, da, da. Okay, you're good. All right. My bad. All right, fine. Bye. The one exception to this is when hotels be giving out suites to a bride or groom, and then the after party happens in there. And then some couple comes by and they're like, hey, you guys have been making noise for X amount of hours. It's 2 a.m. And in those cases, I'm just like, the hotel shouldn't have put you here. Like hotels really got to do a better job at organizing where noise is going to be. And I think they have gotten better at that. That's another topic, though. To this point being, I care, right? I don't want it to show like, oh, yeah, fuck him. I'll make all the noise I fucking want to. I'll double it down. It's none of that. Because I used to have parties there. I was cool. I was young. I was single once. I lived the good times. But boy, I never had noise complaints like that. I would do the decent thing. I would knock on neighbors' doors. Hey, like we're gonna have a little get together, blah blah blah. But I never got to that. And the cops never called. It's just weird. One person yelled at me because I was, talking on the balcony, and I get it, right? When you're outside, the noise gets out, yada yada. But cops, and I do think, I don't know whether I saw it in their apartment or not. It's these amplifiers. Like how if that much noise is getting into another apartment, like how are the people in the party apartment not okay. It's just a weird scenario. I thought I'd share that with y'all. I guess I'll keep y'all up to date. Honestly, if that shit goes through and I owe 10K, I'm probably gonna be suing the tenants. Like, see, this is what I'm saying. You want to jump off the road and be a podcaster, do this entertainment yacht, all that crap. But you got shit like this. You got to pay off. I've been cursing a lot in this one, huh? Sorry about that. I apologize. The Mavericks win game 4. I don't know whether I like that it happened. I like that they didn't get swept. At first, I wanted the pain to just end, and that just be the end of it. Move on. I should have just flown back to LA. But winning one felt nice. Winning one was like, okay, people can stop talking shit about, oh, this team had a cakewalk to the finals. Kawhi was hurt. Oh, Denver should have made it. They would have if Jamal Murray, if they didn't blow a 20-point, if that's all I'd be hearing. That's all I'd be hearing. That's all I kept hearing. But the Mavericks made it here for a reason. I thought they were pretty good, especially because of the same reason I've been saying, right? Their 1-2 is better than most people's 1-2, except for maybe Boston. Boston's 1-2 has a complimentary 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that's the part that beats you. In game 4, they won. So now it's 3-1 in literally 15 minutes. Game 5 starts. If the Mavericks win here, things do get a little interesting. Things do get a bit interesting. I've been talking shit, right? Like I said, y'all, the lie only dies if you stop or if you give up. If you keep talking shit till it ends, everyone will think you believed it the entire time. The entire time. I've been saying, oh yeah, Luka actually wanted to go down 0-3 and then be the first team to make a comeback and win his first championship. Do I believe that? No, not at all. But what if it happens? So if they win tonight, I do think things get interesting. And if they don't, then congratulations to Boston. If you supported Boston, I say you're racist, but it's fine. I get it. It's okay. You may just hate Dallas that much. That just drives you toward racism. It's fine. But hopefully I'm on here talking about the Mavericks again next week. I do want to get a couple more podcasts in while I'm in town with some friends. I actually am going to release, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to release a bonus episode towards the latter half of this week. I got to sat down with some friends. I don't know whether I will release that one or the one I had with my friend Natasha. And we kind of just tried to do an episode. Either audio broke out or the camera broke out. Things just didn't work out, but I still want to put the content out there. So be on the lookout for some extra pieces of content coming out later this week. Same channel, comment, like, and subscribe. Go like the video right now. We're getting decent views. We're doing better on views, but there's just no conversion. So share it with a friend. However you think you can help, it is greatly appreciated. I appreciate the notes that y'all send in, whether it's text or comments. I do appreciate it. With that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys next week. Mavs in 7, and goodbye.